It's time for the tournament we've been looking forward to all season, the Battle of the Decades. We're kicking it off this week with the 1980s crew. Now, I'm guessing a lot of viewers tuned in tonight hoping to see Arthur Chu get destroyed or something, but they got a little surprise. Chuck Forrest is the guy who created the Forrest Bounce, which is where you bounce around the board trying to find the daily doubles, something that Arthur has been vilified for. Will Chuck bring out the big guns once again? Let's find out on the final wager. So Chuck really burst out of the gate today, but he didn't go back to the bounce for the second round, which allowed India to pick up both daily doubles, and she's got the lead heading into final. Jim's a distant third, but could play spoiler. Start with India and Chuck. Chuck doubles up. He'll have 33,400. So to cover him, India's going to need to wager at least 14,900. Now remember, this is a tournament. We have to have a winner. If there's a tie, we go to a tiebreaker. So this is a case where she has to have that extra dollar. So she wants to wager 14,901. If she gets it wrong with that wager, and we'll bring back the 1 in a second, she's going to be left with 3,600. Subtract 1 is going to be 3,599. So to stay above that, Chuck can wager up to 13,100. And Jim will need to wager at least 400. Now we look at second and third, Chuck and Jim. Chuck, you'll see, already has a lot more than Jim. Jim doubles up, he's going to have 6,400. So if he wants to stay above that, Chuck can wager up to 10,299. Subtract that $1. So we'll make that his new maximum wager. For rule number 3, Chuck and India are separated by 1,800. Chuck might want to wager at least 1,801 to cover a zero wager by India, or to cover an unsafe wager by India, which would be 1,799, he can wager 3,600. And to show you that if India wagers so as not to fall below Chuck, and then ends up getting it right, she's going to have 20,299. So to get to 20,300, Chuck will need to wager 3,600. Now, my friend Michael Rooney, who is a great Jeopardy champion in his own right, and who, in my opinion, should be in this tournament, gave me the idea to look through all of the historical wagers of the players in the tournament to see how they might act in this situation. Chuck has been known, when trailing, to wager everything, almost every time. Chuck did go for everything and got it right, doubling to 33,400. India wagered quite a bit too much, and I'll show you why. So we see here that India, after she got it wrong, was left with 2,000. This is less than Jim has to start with in Final Jeopardy. With the proper wager of 14,901, she'll have more than Jim, so she can't lose to Jim if he gets it wrong. In this case, Jim could wager this 400 amount, which is completely rational. Not the best, but it works. And even if he does get it wrong with that wager, he's still going to beat her. That makes that additional 1,600 a bad wager. You don't need to wager more than you absolutely have to win the game in advance. So we start off our Battle of the Decades with a barn burner between two top players. And I think we have an even better game lined up for tomorrow. Join me then, and we'll see how everyone does on the final wager.